Hey everybody, and welcome to my in5 series where I cover a topic in about 5 minutes. Nathan Carpenter writes in and says, do you utilize the OP-1 field with your MPC much? I am thinking about buying a field and using it as a keyboard and sound maker for the MPC One. Do they complement each other? I guess is what I'm asking. Thanks again for the tutorial. I'm going to break this into, I guess, three sections. One, let's just talk about the OP-1 by itself. It does allow you to play the keyboard. You can hook up the USB-C to the USB-C in. It will present itself as a MIDI device, and you can play the keys. I don't have it hooked up right now, but you can play the keys. It will send MIDI data over to the MPC. It will send sync data if you wanted to, or it can receive sync data. It is not a problem. The keys are velocity sensitive to an extent. I would say the MPC pads, you can get a pretty good amount of expression through just hitting the pads and aftertouch. The keys on the OP-1, however, I'm not going to say that there are three levels of velocity, but it kind of feels like you get a hard, medium, and soft level. They're not as expressive as the pads on the Akai MPC. So you can play the notes, and if you're familiar playing scales and other things on a regular traditional keyboard, it will do that perfectly for you. If you're trying to get a very expressive, like if you think it's an expressive keyboard, it is not. You're much better off getting something else if that's what you're looking for specifically. You can also get the output and input. So for the MPC, it's going to allow you to output to the MPC. You can sample into the MPC with it. So if you want to play any of the sound effects or instruments or anything, you can totally do that. And the MPC One, you can't do this, but on the MPC Live, because you have enough outputs, you can actually set this up as a feedback loop, or not a feedback loop. You don't want that. You can set it up as an effect loop for the MPC Live and X. On the MPC One, you would need to get a external USB device, audio device to do that. But you do get the microphone, which is not it is a nice addition. It's a pretty nice microphone. It's not the best, but I would say it is, for the size and that it's included in something this small, absolutely passable. You also get the radio, so if you want to record off of the radio, you can totally do that. I've used this as just like a temporary field recorder. It's a little big for that, but in a pinch, it'll work as a field recorder. It's got its own 6-second sampler for samples to be able to pitch things up and down. It's got quite a bit of functionality. However, for how does it pair with the MPC One? While it can do it, I don't know that it necessarily, for the price tag, adds enough for what you might get out of it. I mean, $2,000 brand new. If you can find it for $1,500, I know people have done it from time to time, but the synths are nice. They're fine. I actually really like the sampler on it. I think the sampler is quite fast and allows you to go get ideas down really quick and go change things. It's got some interesting effects. I don't know that I wouldn't call them better. I would put them in the SP404 Mark II range, where you've got some interesting things. They've been tuned to be able to use a limited set of knobs, and they can be rather expressive very quickly, but it can also, because of that, start sounding samey. On the MPC, you have so many effects, and that's not, if you want to get even more, there's plenty of paid effects and instruments that will far surpass what the OP-1 can do broadly and in general. So it's hard for me to say, like, is it worth getting? Because if you can find one for like $1,200 or something, maybe, but even for $1,200, you can add an awful lot of you can buy like the entire effect suite and instrument suite, I think, and still have extra money. So if you're just looking for more instruments, I would say, if you haven't invested in the MPC effects and instruments, I'd kind of start there. How do they complement each other? This is where I would say, if you are willing to actually invest and learn and fight with and struggle with the OP-1 or OP-1 field mindset, mantra, workflow, working on tape, it will force you to make music that you would not do on the MPC. I can almost guarantee it. You can use the looper on the MPC and force yourself through that kind of off the grid workflow, but the OP-1, kicks almost all of the things and habits and processes and workflows that you probably know how to do on the MPC and kicks them far out the door. So honestly, if you really want to force yourself to go off the grid, you want to force yourself to be able to be more comfortable and okay with making mistakes and leaving mistakes in your work, and you're okay with kind of working with it in a reduced subset of things, I think the OP-1's great. Personally, I would say if you're looking for something that's a mobile device that has a lot of great features and functionality that you'll have to learn how to work with and use, cool. If you think you're really just going to use it as a sound device, I think you can get something far better. Personally, when I'm using the MPC, the two things that I'm usually reaching for are my access virus. It makes a lot of sound and things that I don't think the MPC is probably ever going to do, although there are some open source implementations and emulations of the virus that maybe somebody will hack it in there. I don't know. But to me, Access Virus is a really great and solid addition. And I've also got a Waldorf Iridium. It adds a ton of its own features and functionality and is about the same price as what you get for the OP-1. The Iridium and the virus, they both will work very well with the sequencer on the MPC. They will add a lot of sounds that you can't get on the MPC. They add a lot of effects that you can't get on the MPC. And the big thing, though, is they are far bigger than the OP-1. So if you're just looking for something like the OP-1 that you can throw in a backpack, go to a bookstore, cafe, go on a trip or something where you maybe are like, I don't want to take the MPC One because it's a little bit bigger, absolutely great device. If you, again, just want a few effects, or you think that you're going to work with this key bed, it does go up plus or minus 4 octaves, but it is not going to be a replacement for a piano key bed or like a synthesizer key bed. They're going to be far better to work with. So I guess I'm just trying to let you know, think about what you're getting into. Absolutely feel free to reach out if you have any more questions. I'm happy to answer them. But for me personally, I don't pair the OP-1 very much or very frequently with the MPC. I kind of look at them as two separate workflows, and depending on what mindset I'm in, depends on what workflow I want to go in, depends on how I'm going to start or where I'm going to kind of take off from there. Anyway, Nathan, I hope that even if it's not the answer you're looking for, I hope it gives you some like things to think about. And everybody else, thanks for stopping by. Keep making music, keep having fun. Remember, if it sounds good, it is good. And peace.